Girl, you will not believe what just hit the fan. The FBI has just dropped an absolute bombshell, and it's shaking up Tinseltown from top to bottom. Apparently, yes, honey, music mogul Diddy and Hollywood sweetheart Ashton Kutcher, yes, Mr. That 70s Show himself, have been tangled up in a sinister mess involving none other than child star Daveigh Chase. That's right, sweet little Lilo from Lilo and Stitch, the terrifying girl from The Ring, her. According to jaw-dropping new findings, these two major Hollywood power players allegedly lured young talents like Daveigh into what insiders are calling freak-off parties. And babes, these weren't just Hollywood parties, these were high-secretive, NDA-signed, invite-only events so secretive the NDAs were said to last until 20 years after the host died. Like, excuse me? Who does that? So now everyone's wondering, is this why Daveigh vanished? From Hollywood's darling to missing starlet. Daveigh Chase, born July 24th, 1990, in Las Vegas and raised in the calm town of Albany, Oregon, was your classic small-town girl with big dreams. Her talent? Unbendable. Her parents saw it too and started shuttling her off to auditions early on. And sis, she booked it all, from local theater to voice work. Then, boom, Lilo and Stitch in 2002. Daveigh was Lilo. Her voice brought that cheeky, rebellious girl to life. Audiences adored her. Disney hit jackpot, and when that movie turned into a billion-dollar franchise, people couldn't get enough of her. And just when you thought she peaked, nah, babe, she came for blood. That same year, she played the bone-chilling Samara Morgan in The Ring. You remember that tape? The well, the hair? That was her. 12 years old and she was already legendary. But Hollywood being Hollywood doesn't just give, it takes. The whisper behind the velvet curtain. Fast forward a few years and out of nowhere, the Daveigh just disappeared. 1 second, she was the face of horror. The next, poof, gone. No movies, no press, nothing. Now, attendees had to sign NDAs that could outlive them. And the wildest part? These parties had zones, like one room for champagne and celebs, and then darker, secretive areas that nobody wants to talk about. Some insiders now claim young stars were invited without knowing the full scope. Makes you wonder, did Daveigh see something she shouldn't have? And then enters Ashton Kutcher. Let's talk about Ashton because this rabbit hole goes deep. Back in the day, he was everyone's favorite heartthrob. Funny, charming, married to Demi Moore, but honey, that shiny smile's hiding some skeletons. Old interviews have resurfaced where Ashton made creepy AF jokes about waiting for teen girls like Hilary Duff and the Olsen twins to turn 18. Gross, right? Like, who even says that on camera? But wait, it gets worse. Ashton once said that freak-off parties were the best nights of my life. Excuse me? Best nights doing what, Ashton? Now, he never spilled the tea on what went down at these events, like at all, which only makes people even more suspicious. Because if everything was above board, why all the silence? Okay, babe, let's talk real talk. After the mega success of The Ring and Lilo and Stitch, Daveigh Chase should have been a household name for life. Red carpets, talk shows, fashion campaigns, you name it. But what did we get instead? Silence. By the mid-2010s, Daveigh had practically vanished. Some said she left Hollywood by choice. Others, not buying it. Her last confirmed sighting was in 2016, and then, in 2017, boom, arrested on an outstanding warrant. Yep. Suddenly, our sweet Samara was in handcuffs. And that, my friend, is when the story got even darker. She popped back into the news again, not for a role, but for being involved in a hospital police inquiry after a man's death. She wasn't charged, but chilly. The headlines were wild. Then came a felony joyriding charge in 2018. Drug rumors? Check. Missed court appearances? Check. She was spiraling. And the industry? Dead silent. No support, no guidance, just crickets. Freak-off parties, Hollywood's worth-kept secret. Let's bring it back to these infamous freak-off parties. Because, girl, it wasn't just Diddy's name floating around. There were NDAs that would make your jaw drop. Clauses that extended even decades after Diddy's death. So obviously the question is, what was going on that needed this level of secrecy? Multiple lawsuits and court filings are now blowing the lid off these events. Plot talk / multiply. Sources claim these parties had layers. Some areas were full of luxury and big-name celebs, but behind closed doors, another world entirely. Some even allege that underage guests were being exposed to things no child star should ever witness. And while there's no solid proof that Daveigh attended, that 2003 clip of Diddy inviting a 13-year-old Daveigh to one of his after parties, baby, that video is circulating again and it is not aging well. Ashton Kutcher, not as clean as we thought? Now, let's spill on Ashton. He's not in legal hot water yet. But that doesn't mean people aren't giving him the side eye. Why? Because when his former co-star Danny Masterson was convicted of sexual assault, Ashton and Mila Kunis wrote letters vouching for him. Yes, you heard that right, in 2023. While survivors were speaking their truth, Ashton was busy defending a convicted predator. The backlash, swift and savage. His apology, girl, it felt like it was written by a PR bot. Zero remorse, and now people are revisiting all his past behavior, like those gross old interviews where he talked about teen girls, or those weirdly vague stories about crazy nights at Diddy's parties. People are now wondering, what exactly was Ashton covering up all these years? The culture of silence, Hollywood, dirty little hode, Hollywood, has always had this unspoken rule. See something, say nothing. Managers, publicists, agents, they all knew, but instead of protecting young stars like Diddy, they protected the brand, the money, the image, and anyone who dared to speak out, blacklisted. One anonymous entertainment journalist even said, "You don't cross certain lines in this town unless you want to be blackballed." Like, hello? That's terrifying. That's the same toxic code that let these freak-off parties fester in the shadows for years. It's the same code that left Daveigh Chase out in the cold while the industry closed its eyes and cashed its checks. Daveigh Chase is the vanishing act of a forgotten icon. So where is she now? Girl, no one knows. Her last Insta post, 2017. Her last confirmed appearance, 2019. That's it, silence. Some say she's living quietly, trying to heal. Others believe she's hiding. And the rumors, baby, they're louder than ever. Some claim she witnessed something at those parties, something traumatic, something that made her pull away from the spotlight forever. Others think she simply broke under the weight of Hollywood's crushing expectations. The fame, the pressure, the exploitation, it got to her. And honestly, who could blame her? Because whether or not she was part of those parties, she was part of that system. The one that uses kids for headlines, then tosses them aside when the camera stops rolling. The bigger picture, Hollywood's reckoning is here. Let's not pretend this is just a Diddy / Ashton / Daveigh issue. No, ma'am. This is bigger. This is a systemic failure. Hollywood has a pattern. Raise them up, wear them out, then walk away. Judy Garland, Britney Spears, Amanda Bynes, and now Daveigh Chase. It's the same cycle over and over again. And when things go south, what does the industry do? It hides behind NDA. It gaslights victims, it protects the powerful. But honey, the dam is breaking. The Me Too movement cracked it. The lawsuits are shattering it. And now, this new wave of public outrage, it might just be what brings the whole system to its knees, because people are done being lied to. They're done watching childhood icons fade into oblivion while the men behind the curtains keep collecting checks. Okay, babe, let's break down the speculation, because there's a lot swirling around Daveigh's vanishing act. Some people think she just said, screw it, and walked away from Hollywood, escaped the chaos. And honestly, that would be a power move if it were true. But others, well, they believe she saw something at one of those now infamous Diddy parties. Something so disturbing it scarred her for life. Remember that 2003 invite? The one where Diddy on camera casually tells 13-year-old Daveigh to come to the after party? Yeah, that aged like sour milk. And now that court documents and ex-insiders are hinting that those parties weren't just for dancing and champagne, but might have involved underage exploitation, it's no wonder the internet is asking, was Daveigh a witness or worse, a victim? There's no confirmed proof, but that silence, it's screaming louder than any headline. Court filings. What's really in those documents? Let's talk receipts. Because now, multiple court filings are peeling back the layers of what went on behind those velvet ropes. Former guests, yes, the brave few who broke their NDAs, have started talking. In what they describe, it's not the glam fest people thought. We're talking controlled access rooms, blacked out windows, separated zones based on status, and VIP rooms where only the chosen few were allowed in. And girl, these aren't just rumors, these come with sworn testimony. The most shocking claim, that these parties were orchestrated in a way that allowed top-tier celebs and hosts to claim ignorance while shady things were happening behind closed doors. Literally, plausible deniability built into the party layout. Makes you wonder how many child stars like Daveigh were lured in under the guise of networking, only to realize they were surrounded by something much darker. Ashton's slippery ties and the internet's verdict. Now, Ashton may not be facing charges, but he's not coming out clean either. Not with all the skeletons being dug up from his past. You remember that quote? When he called Diddy's parties the best nights of my life? Like, sir, knowing what we know now, that's not a flex, it's a red flag. Plus, let's not forget that disgusting 2003 clip where he jokes about waiting for Hillary Duff to turn 18. Like, who even says that? And in the same breath, he writes a support letter for a man convicted of sexual assault and expects people to still see him as the good guy. Fans aren't buying it anymore, and honestly, the silence in his old story speaks louder than any denial. Hollywood's code of silence, who else knew? Here's where it gets even scarier, because it's not just about Ashton or Diddy. It's about an entire indie universe that looked the other way. Managers knew, agents knew, publicists definitely knew, but as one whistleblower said, you don't cross certain lines in this town unless you want to be blackballed. So instead of protecting Daveigh, they protected the brand, the parties, the abusers. It's a system built on silence, and Daveigh's disappearance might just be the collateral damage of that silence. Daveigh's final sighting, and then nothing. The last public sighting of Daveigh Chase, 19, she looked off, disoriented. Rumors swirled that she was dealing with addiction, maybe even PTSD, but no one really knows because she vanished. No red carpet returns, no interviews, not even a social media post. And that's what makes this so tragic. A girl who was once the face of horror is now a ghost of Hollywood's darkest truths. Not because she flopped, but because the system failed her. Hollywood's pan or chew them up, spit them out. Let's be real, this isn't new. Hollywood has a history of destroying its young stars. Judy Garland was drugged by studios to keep performing. Britney Spears was overworked and publicly humiliated. Amanda Bynes had a breakdown and the world laughed. Now, Daveigh Chase joins the list. Once celebrated, now forgotten. And all the while, the predators and enablers keep smiling on magazine covers. Is Daveigh hiding, or was she erased? So here's the question everyone's afraid to ask out loud. Did Daveigh walk away, or was she pushed out? Did she choose to leave the spotlight, or did the trauma she might have faced force her into silence? Because let's not pretend Hollywood hasn't covered up worse. Some say she's in hiding, healing. Others think she may have been threatened into silence. And the most chilling theory, that she was a threat. That her story, if ever told, could take down names far bigger than Diddy or Ashton. A reckoning is coming, but will it be enough? The floodgates are open now, and people aren't letting this go. The internet is watching, the survivors are talking, and the fans? They're demanding answers. Because Daveigh's story isn't just about her. It's about every child actor thrown into the lion's den and left to survive on their own. Every teen idol who went from magazine covers to mugshots, while the executives behind the scenes threw parties with billion-dollar NDAs. And if we don't keep asking what happened to Daveigh Chase, who will? Final word, for now, from child star to Hollywood's ghost. From red carpets to arrest records. Daveigh Chase's story is heartbreaking, terrifying, and unfinished. One thing is for sure, if her silence could speak, it would scream.